On February 9th, 2004, a 21-year-old nursing student named Maura Murray disappeared after a car accident along Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire. Her black satin sedan was found at the side of the road, its front end damaged against a snowbank. The car was locked. The airbags had deployed. The windshield was cracked. But Maura was nowhere to be found. There were no signs of a struggle, no blood at the scene, no footprints in the snow leading away from the crash site. In the hours before her disappearance, Maura had emailed her professors about a family emergency, an emergency that investigators later confirmed did not exist. She withdrew cash from an ATM, purchased alcohol, and printed directions to Vermont. Witnesses reported seeing a young woman at the crash site, but when police arrived shortly after, she was gone. Over the years, new questions have emerged. Why would Maura leave her car in freezing temperatures without her belongings? Was she planning to meet someone? What is the significance of the rag found stuffed into the tailpipe of her car? And was there another crash further down the road that night? One authorities have never fully explained. Each of these questions forms part of a larger picture we'll explore in this investigation. Nearly 2 decades later, Maura Murray's disappearance remains one of the most puzzling unsolved cases in America, and much of what happened that night remains unanswered. A silent car on a snowy road. A young woman gone without a trace. No struggle, no footprints, no answers. This is Derrick Investigates, and I'm Derrick. Tonight, we're not just telling a story. We're stepping inside one of the most baffling disappearances of the last 2 decades, the case of Maura Murray. She was a gifted student with a promising future. But just days before she vanished, strange patterns began to emerge. A sudden road trip, unexplained behavior, and a crash that would leave behind more questions than answers. Was it a cry for help no one recognized? Was she running from something or someone? Or did something far more unexpected happen that night in the freezing woods? If unraveling the unknown intrigues you as much as it does me, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Your support helps us uncover the overlooked details and bring fresh eyes to cold cases still waiting for answers. Now, let's step back into that bitter winter of 2004, where every clue deepens the mystery and every theory leads to a new question. It was a cold February day in 2004 when the quiet, snow-draped town of Haverhill, New Hampshire became the center of a mystery, one that, even today, refuses to yield easy answers. Maura Murray, a 21-year-old nursing student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, often simply called UMass, was known for her determination, intelligence, and athleticism. She was a standout in track and field, a dedicated student, and someone friends described as both fiercely independent and quietly private. Outwardly, her life seemed to be on a clear path, but in the days leading up to her disappearance, subtle signs suggested otherwise. Signs that, at the time, were easy to miss. In what would be one of her final acts at UMass, Maura sent emails to her professors and work supervisor, explaining that she had to leave because of a family emergency. Yet no family emergency existed. Instead, Maura quietly withdrew $280 from an ATM, purchased alcohol from a local store, a transaction captured on surveillance footage, and set off alone, heading north toward New Hampshire's White Mountains. No clear explanation, no shared plans, just a journey that seemed both hurried and deeply private. Why would a promising young woman just days into a new semester take off without telling even her closest friends? Was she running towards something or away from something? What did she intend to find in the frozen wilderness? And more importantly, was she ever planning to return? In tonight's investigation, we'll retrace Maura's final decisions, uncover the hidden signals that surfaced only after she vanished, and explore the lingering puzzles that continue to cloud the search for truth. Each choice she made that day could be a clue, or a warning missed until it was too late. Around 7:30 p.m. on a freezing February night, Maura's car veered off a sharp curve near the small village of Woodsville, within Haverhill, New Hampshire. It struck a snowbank, leaving it disabled on the side of the desolate road. A passing school bus driver, one of the few people to cross Maura's path that night, stopped to offer help. He later recounted that Maura appeared shaken but calm, declining assistance and assuring him she had already called for help. But that call was never traced. Minutes later, when police arrived on the scene, Maura was gone. Her Saturn sedan remained behind, locked, sitting eerily in the snow, with a few puzzling items still inside: a box of wine, a Coke bottle containing what appeared to be traces of alcohol, and a printed map of the local area. The airbags had deployed, hinting at a minor collision. Yet no blood, no visible injuries, no footprints in the fresh snow, and no Maura. The surrounding landscape was bleak, miles of dense woods and isolated homes, the kind of place where cries for help could vanish into the wind. The temperatures had dropped below freezing, making survival without shelter increasingly unlikely as each hour passed. Search teams fanned out through the woods, but they found no trail to follow. No signs of a struggle, no fresh tracks leading away from the car. Had Maura simply walked away? Or had someone else arrived, in the short window between the bus driver's departure and the police's arrival? And if so, who? Adding even more layers to the puzzle were Maura's actions earlier that day. She had called a condominium rental service in New Hampshire, possibly suggesting she had plans to stay somewhere nearby. Yet no reservations were ever confirmed. She also spoke to her boyfriend, Billy Rausch, though what was said in that conversation remains shrouded in uncertainty. Was it a goodbye? A cry for help? The scene left behind was almost like a moment frozen in time, filled with silent clues and unanswered questions. Why did Maura insist she had called for help if no such call existed? Why was her vehicle locked if she had intended to seek assistance nearby? And how could someone simply vanish without a trace in the thick snow and biting cold? In tonight's investigation, we'll peel back these layers one by one. We'll return to these details: the missing footprints, the unplaced calls, the strange urgency of her trip, to understand whether they point to a desperate escape, a tragic accident, or something even darker. Because in Maura's disappearance, every answer seems to lead only to more questions. As investigators began piecing together the events of Maura Murray's disappearance, they quickly encountered an unsettling truth. The case was far from straightforward. What initially seemed like a simple car accident, a young woman stranded, likely seeking help, soon began to unravel in unexpected ways, revealing layers of mystery no one had anticipated. In the beginning, the theory was simple. Maura had crashed her car, perhaps disoriented and seeking refuge from the freezing temperatures. Police launched an immediate search, deploying K9 units and infrared helicopters to comb the dense woods. But despite their best efforts, there was no sign of Maura. No footprints in the snow, no trail, no sign that she had left the scene on foot. This left investigators with a chilling question. If she hadn't gone into the woods, where had she gone? As days turned into weeks, the investigation began to reveal troubling details about Maura's life in the weeks leading up to her disappearance. Just days before her unplanned trip, she had crashed her father's car. It was a minor accident, but the emotional toll was clear. Even more troubling was a phone call Maura had made to her sister Kathleen on the night of February 8th. In the conversation, Maura was reportedly in tears, though the specifics of what was said remain unclear. What was going on in Maura's life that had led to this point? Was she running from something, or was she seeking solace in the isolation of New Hampshire's White Mountains? Adding further complexity, investigators found her car filled with a mix of seemingly ordinary and odd items, her packed belongings, textbooks, nursing materials, all signs that this trip, however sudden, had been planned. But there was also an open box of wine. Was this a signal of a breakdown, or was Maura preparing for something else entirely, something more deliberate? Days of searching led to no new answers, and the investigation hit one dead end after another. But the questions only grew more haunting with each passing hour. Who was Maura calling on the day she disappeared? What was the real reason behind her family emergency? And most chilling of all, if she hadn't walked into the woods, where did she go? As investigators followed the sparse trail, they found themselves drawn back to the question at the heart of the case. What happened to Maura Murray? As law enforcement delved deeper into the investigation, they uncovered a series of crucial clues, yet none led them to a definitive answer. Witnesses along Route 112 had seen Maura's car that evening, but no one could provide information about what had happened to her after she declined help from the passing bus driver. The absence of physical evidence left authorities with a chilling uncertainty. Was foul play involved? Investigators scoured her phone records, revealing several intriguing calls Maura had made in the hours leading up to her disappearance. One call stood out, a query to a rental property in Bartlett, New Hampshire, suggesting she may have been planning to stay in the area. But why was no reservation ever confirmed? Did Maura plan to stay, or was she looking for something else? Perhaps even more mysterious was her final phone activity, a voicemail check at 4:37 p.m. Was this an attempt to reach out for help, or was it just a routine action before everything took a darker turn? Could this small, seemingly insignificant moment hold a key to the puzzle? As the investigation unfolded, theories about Maura's fate began to surface. Was it possible that Maura had staged her own disappearance to escape something or someone? Or had she become the victim of an abduction, snatched right from the roadside after leaving her vehicle? Another theory suggested a tragic accident in the wild, but without clues to confirm any of these possibilities, the question only deepened. Where had Maura gone? Her case quickly garnered national attention, with her family, especially her father Fred Murray, becoming vocal advocates for more aggressive search efforts. Fred was convinced that Maura had fallen victim to foul play, but without concrete evidence, law enforcement struggled to make any progress. But here's where the case becomes even more perplexing. Despite Route 112 being a sparsely populated area, no credible witnesses came forward with information. How could it be that no one had seen anything? Was someone driving through the area that night, and did they see something that could have answered the biggest question of all? As we look back on this troubling investigation, we're left with only more questions. Did Maura disappear into thin air? Or is there something hiding just beneath the surface, yet to be uncovered? So, as the mystery deepens, we ask you, the viewers, what do you think happened that night on Route 112? Was Maura running from something? Or was her disappearance simply a tragic twist of fate? Could foul play be involved? Or is there another, yet-to-be-revealed explanation? Join the conversation. Share your theories and thoughts in the comments below. Despite the investigators' tireless efforts, Maura's case remains one of the most baffling and enduring mysteries of the 21st century. Each clue uncovered provides a tantalizing glimpse into the truth, but the puzzle is far from complete. Where is Maura Murray? In the months after Maura Murray's mysterious disappearance, investigators clung to the hope that a breakthrough would emerge. For a brief moment, it seemed like they were on the cusp of finding something. A contractor working near the scene reported seeing a man acting suspiciously in the days following Maura's vanishing. The tip led to an exhaustive search of the area, but once again, no solid evidence came to light. Hope surged when sightings of a young woman resembling Maura were reported across New England. Could Maura have intentionally vanished and started a new life? Was she out there, living in hiding? The idea that she might have left everything behind seemed to offer a possible resolution. Yet, as each lead fizzled out, the mystery only deepened. Then, in 2019, a seemingly promising tip led authorities to search a basement of a house near the site of her disappearance. A cadaver dog had indicated a potential lead. The public's imagination was ignited. Was this the moment they'd all been waiting for? But when the search concluded, officials confirmed that no human remains were found. Another devastating blow for Maura's family, who had spent years hoping that new evidence might finally bring them the closure they so desperately sought. Despite this, the case remained unsolved. As time passed, the question lingered. What truly happened on that cold February night in 2004? From the very beginning, Maura Murray's case prompted an enormous response from law enforcement. What started with local authorities quickly escalated to involve state and federal agencies. The New Hampshire State Police led the investigation, coordinating search and rescue teams to comb the rugged terrain surrounding the crash site. Despite deploying infrared-equipped helicopters and K9 units, the lack of physical evidence made progress agonizingly slow. Recognizing the complexity of the case, law enforcement enlisted the help of the FBI, tapping into their vast resources. Specialists in missing persons worked tirelessly, analyzing Maura's digital footprint, crafting behavioral profiles, and following up on sightings across state lines. Yet despite the collective expertise of these agencies, the investigation continued to stall. As the years wore on, frustration mounted. Maura's family, particularly her father Fred, voiced sharp criticism over what they perceived as an inadequate initial response. They pushed relentlessly for answers, demanding a more thorough investigation. Over the years, authorities revisited the case, reviewing old evidence and re-interviewing witnesses, but each new attempt seemed to raise more questions than it answered. In the end, the lack of new discoveries underscored a bitter truth. Solving a case like Maura's, one that began with so few clues, was always going to be an uphill battle. The trail has grown colder, but the questions remain unanswered. Was Maura's disappearance a tragedy born from a series of unfortunate events? Or was there something more sinister at play, hidden just beneath the surface? The mystery of Maura Murray's fate continues to haunt those who seek answers. To this day, no one has been able to definitively explain what happened on that cold February night in 2004, leaving Maura's disappearance as one of the most baffling and enduring mysteries of the 21st century. Thank you for watching and being part of the Derrick Investigates community. The case of Maura Murray continues to haunt and perplex, reminding us of how quickly life can change and how some questions may never be fully answered. Despite the years of investigation, the chilling ambiguity surrounding her disappearance leaves us with a haunting truth. Sometimes, even with all the clues laid before us, the truth remains just out of reach. What do you think really happened that night? Did Maura leave her car on her own? Or was something more sinister at play? Was she seeking solace or running from something she couldn't face? Or is there something deeper still that we haven't uncovered? We want to hear your thoughts. Comment below with your theories and ideas. Your perspective could hold the missing piece of the puzzle. At Derrick Investigates, our mission is to shine a light on the unexplained, to honor those lost, and to seek the answers that may still be out there. If this case moved you, like this video, share your thoughts, and subscribe with the bell icon on. Together, we keep the search for answers alive. Until next time, stay curious, question the unexplained, and never stop seeking the truth. I'm Derrick, and I'll be back soon with another investigation.